Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to treat building a business a lot like assembling a high-stakes machine. We're going to break down the exact blueprint of an enterprise, taking you all the way from gathering your raw basic resources to mapping out a fully structured strategic plan. So, have you ever thought about starting your own company? Or maybe you've just wondered what exactly separates a brilliant idea, the kind scribbled on the back of a napkin, from a profitable living reality? Well, that massive leap between a cool concept and a functioning enterprise is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the building blocks, also known as the factors of production.
Literally every single business requires four main ingredients to get off the ground, which economists call the factors of production. First up, we have land. Now, this means the physical site, sure, but it also includes all the natural resources you extract from it, like timber or oil. Second is labor, which is the physical and mental human effort from your workforce. Third is capital. And hey, this isn't just money, it's the machinery, the computers, the man-made tools used in production. And finally, the glue holding the whole shebang together, enterprise. This is that absolute crucial risk-taking ability and the leadership required to combine those first three factors effectively. But here's the catch. We live in a world of limited resources. The economic problem of scarcity means you simply can't have it all. Choosing to dedicate your time, money, and resources to a new venture means you are inevitably giving up your next best alternative, and that is your opportunity cost. For instance, if you decide to dump your life savings into starting a local cafe instead of just keeping your safe salary job, well, that safe salary, that's your opportunity cost. It is the true cost of making a choice. Moving right along to Section 2, the magic of added value. Look, if you aren't adding value, your business simply cannot survive. The formula itself is straightforward enough. Added value equals the selling price of the finished goods minus the cost of the materials you bought to make it. Think of it like baking. If you take raw ingredients like eggs, sugar, and flour, the value added is the massive difference between those dirt-cheap input costs and the premium price of a final, beautifully branded wedding cake. That difference is exactly what pays for your rent, your labor, and ultimately your profit. And this really brilliantly illustrates the basic mechanics of survival across three clear steps. First, you buy raw materials. Second, you process, manufacture, or add distinct branding to those materials. And third, you sell the finished goods for a profit. To survive, a business has to execute step 2 absolutely perfectly. Processing or branding is what guarantees the customer is actually willing to pay more than those initial input costs. All right, Section 3, the drivers, entrepreneurs versus intrapreneurs. Now, who's actually driving this profit engine? Notice the stark contrast here in where the risk falls. On the left, we have the entrepreneur. This is the owner who builds everything from scratch. They're multi-skilled, they take on the calculated personal financial risk, and if it succeeds, they reap the ultimate profits. On the right, we have a really fascinating alternative, the intrapreneur. This is an employee who essentially acts like an entrepreneur. They use their creativity to launch new products, but they do it from within an existing company. So the business assumes the financial risk, and the business reaps the reward, but the intrapreneur gets to innovate with a safety net. Which brings us to Section 4, the hurdles, or the barriers to enterprise. Before we even start looking at internal mistakes a company makes, it is vital to remember that the changing business environment itself is a huge reason why some businesses succeed and others fail. It is incredibly dynamic and, honestly, entirely unforgiving. External shifts in technology, brand new legal regulations, or a sudden economic downturn can totally destroy an enterprise that fails to adapt. You are always at the mercy of a changing environment. Compounding those massive environmental shifts are the immediate roadblocks every single founder faces. The most common reasons for early failure? Well, there's a lack of cash, often because banks simply refuse to lend to an unproven startup. Then there's poor management skills. A founder might have a genius product idea, but absolutely zero experience handling cash flow or marketing. Add in the intense competition from massive established firms and the sheer difficulty of pulling a loyal customer base out of thin air, and you can quickly see why survival is so incredibly tough. Finally, we have Section 5, the map, the business plan blueprint. So, how do you beat those odds? You need a map, which is your business plan. This is a written document detailing your objectives, marketing strategies, and financial forecasts. It's essentially your pitch. And while it is absolutely crucial for securing cash and tracking your performance against goals, we've got to be real about its limitations. Notice the disadvantages here. These plans are often based on forecasts, which, let's be honest, are basically educated guesses about the future that can easily be wrong. Plus, getting way too fixated on a rigid plan can cause inflexibility, stopping a founder from pivoting and innovating when the market suddenly shifts. So let's bring this all together. Knowing the immense hurdles in the market, the absolute necessity of a rigid but sometimes flawed business plan, and the high-stakes reality of opportunity cost, which path would you choose in the dynamic world of business? Do you see yourself as the risk-taking entrepreneur building an empire entirely from scratch? Or the innovative entrepreneur using your creativity to transform a massive business from the inside out? It's a huge choice, and I hope this explainer has given you the blueprint to understand what it really takes.